Hello everyone, it's the Black Shadow in full flesh and colour. Hope you guys have had a lovely Christmas, and also for those as well, a decent New Year coming up in the next couple of days as well. It's been pretty good on this side. It's been pretty chill. I'm under strict instructions to have a chill Christmas, to be fair, this year. Considering the past 3 or 4 weeks prior to that were pretty nuts. I was out all over the joint. So I am under strict instruction to stay in, not do very much, and just chill the fuck out, which I have been doing. So I need to put this video together to let you guys know of how things stand for the channel going forward into 2020. It's something that definitely came up a little bit. I've been asked about a few bits and pieces regards to, am I going to be doing this series, that game, this, that, whatever. So I figured the best thing to do is to put a whole video together to let you know what's going on next year. And the TLDR version is already quite a lot. And Resident Evil 3 Remake has not assisted this in any way, shape, or form. So before we actually get fully into the video, I also want to say a huge thanks to everyone who sent me their best Christmas greetings and wishes over the holiday period. It's very appreciated. And as well, huge thanks as well to everyone who has sent bits and pieces as well for me over the Christmas period as well. There's been a couple of donations that have been sent to me from GSC, I think he was also a Metro fan, over on the Discord. Sean King as well sent me a really nice donation as well over on Patreon. Huge thanks for that. Thank you as well. And even the illustrious Lady K, who sent me some bits and pieces in that very funky looking box down there. It's all hugely appreciated, definitely. It's all very humbling as well to receive, these sort of bits and pieces as well, and say a variety of gifts I've been sent across over time as well, which a lot of it floating around in the back cupboard up there, which one day, once I've got a new setup, I'll be able to show in far more detail. And I showed some of anyways of the Christmas Q&A stream we did a week ago as well. So a huge thanks to everyone who sent bits and pieces for the Christmas period. So probably the best place to start is going to be the YouTube channel, which of course is the main meat and drink of this channel that I've been doing for a little over 8 years now. It's something that gets more and more scary every time I say that. Whilst we'll quickly talk about what's going on with the channel at the moment, which is Dark Cloud, which is a main RPG, and of course Resident Evil 6 we're doing over with CM3. We'll start with that first, actually. We haven't got too long left of Resident Evil 6 now. This is not just in regards to game length, this is in regards to actual physical deadlines. Some of you may or may not know, but CM3 is leaving the country in less than 2 months. He's spending a couple of years over in Canada, which I'm really grateful for, and I'm sure he'll have a lovely time over there. But it does create an issue that obviously he wants to do the editing for the series, and he's done a fantastic job for it. But it does mean that we've only got so long left to do the rest of the game, not just physically playing it, but also editing it and thus getting it forward onto the YouTube channel. We have not been able to get videos up as quickly as we wanted to over the past month or so. This is basically due, and I think Free says about it in some of the videos as well. For about 6, 7, 8 videos worth, we were having horrendous issues with his mic, as it turned out, after the fact. He was having significant issues with his mic jack, and it spent a lot of editing time trying to get that fixed and largely working. It has made life rather complicated for him in doing that. On top of that as well, Christmas has thrown him for a bit of a loop. There's been all sorts of going on. Now, the main thing is that his schedule, both his schedule and the audio issues that he's been dealing with, both are about to come to an end anyway. So it should be a far simpler job for him to get through the rest of the Jake's campaign stuff, which we've already recorded virtually all of it. All we've got left to play now, actually, is like the last chapter for Jake and Sherry, and then the Ada stuff, which I have been reliably informed it will be A, not too particularly long, and B, might well be one of the biggest mindfucks in Resident Evil I've ever had since I played Resident Evil Gaiden. I don't dispute either of these, I'll be honest. So regardless, that series should be coming to a close in, hopefully about 4 to 6 weeks is the plan. If it goes any longer than that, then we're kind of hosed. But to be fair, it shouldn't be too much editing, even with the Ada stuff, because the way the Ada gameplay works is kind of different. It was always designed to be a single-player chapter, I believe, on release. It was actually fixed. You could only play it as one person. And then they threw in the agent, I believe, later on, who can accompany Ada doing her stuff. But as far as actual story plot reasons, has no bearing on the game at all. He's literally an extra body there to point his gun and shoot things. whereas Ada actually does all the stuff. So it should prove it rather interesting. Anyway, so what was going on with that is once that's finished, we're going to be embarking on one of several Patreon requests that we've been having for the channel over the past sort of few months or so. It is something that once I opened this up on Patreon about like a year or so ago, I've had a lot more interest in it than I ever imagined. For those of you who don't know, with the channel, A, does have a Patreon. There's a link in the description below. Cheap plug. And B, the top tier of that is that I've actually been taking paid requests for particular LPs if people really want to see me do series on it. Now, we've had a few of these already. We had This War of Mine, I believe it was last winter, courtesy of Shano. We've recently done State of Decay 2 over there, which was also by the same individual, actually. We're doing Dark Cloud, which is effectively a paid request from Starfruit, who's the man who gave me, who actually sent an Xbox One across, which I've been using for State of Decay, Project Resistance, MediEvil remake. It will be seeing more things, I'm sure. We did the Code Veronica knife stream as well on that. And I'll be seeing more use, I'm sure, before the day is out. But we've also got more requests actually coming through as well, and that includes what will be going on in between the finish of Resident Evil 6 and the beginning of Resident Evil 3 Remake, which I'll get to in a short moment. And that will be for Dead Rising 2, courtesy of Blue3 over on Patreon, which I have done the original game for that. It was about... Goodness me, it must be about 3-4 years ago, I think it was. I did a series on the original Dead Rising, which was a lot of fun until I tried to doing the overtime. Well, not the overtime mode, it was the infinity mode, and getting kind of shafted on that twice. That took a lot longer to do than I ever intended, but hey ho. So I will be embarking for the YouTube on Dead Rising 2. That will be beginning as soon as Resident Evil 6 comes to an end, and I will be getting that series finished before we embark upon Resident Evil 3 Remake at the beginning of April. Now, as far as Dead Rising 2 is concerned, because I'm sure I'll be asked about this, so what version I'm doing, if there's any DLCs. I've got a couple of DLCs for the game, actually. I had the original Case Zero, which was effectively like a demo beta of the game, but functioned as its own kind of story lead into the main game. And then I've also got Case West, which was like a small DLC that was after the fact, which featured the return of Frank West. This is all before the whole Dead Rising 2 Off the Record came through, which basically is Dead Rising 2, but somewhat edited, and you play as Frank West instead of Chuck Green. I've never actually played Off the Record before, but it is Dead Rising 2 that I physically have the copy of, as well as the other DLC, so I might throw this in as well. I don't know at this point if I'm going to be playing the game by myself or drafting someone in to join me for it. I don't know, but because of the time constraints I'm likely going to be working with, it's going to be difficult to do it with someone else, because I'm not going to have a lot of time to record it. And if I can't get a schedule together with someone that is going to be pretty prompt and swift, that I would record with, then it's going to be difficult to do. If I do it by myself, I've got far more freedom and reliability. Whereas if I'm someone that can only do it maybe like once a week or something, that's, I've got to work this out, and I'll know more a little bit further down the line, closer to the time. Give me a month and I'll get back to you and we'll know where we're at with that. So that'll be going on from February, and that will then be really leading up to Resident Evil 3 Remake. Which, of course, I wasn't expecting to be coming in at April. It's come a lot sooner than I intended. I wasn't expecting Resident Evil 3 Remake until Q3 of the year, which is like, basically the autumn/fall, whatever you want to call it. So that's going to be obviously starting in April. I don't know exactly how long that's going to take, because it's impossible to know. There will be a lot of stuff going on regarding Resident Evil 3, and in particular Project Resistance with Twitch. But I'll get to that a little bit later on in the video, and I'll leave some timestamps, I'm sure, to direct you for that. Now, if we take doing Resident Evil 3, beginning obviously with April, that's probably going to be finishing back into May, coming into, say, June, somewhere around then. I think Resident Evil 2 took about 6 weeks, if I remember, and that's also including a little bit of the Ghost Survivor stuff that I did, running through it the first time, and then dealing with... doing kind of little speedrun stuff. We had some fun with that, which was all good, and I quite enjoyed it. I suspect Resident Evil 3 will probably take about as long, maybe a little bit shorter on the main game side. Depends what they throw in. I'm sure they'll have the mercenaries in some description. I'm sure I'll probably be spending quite a few hours onto that because the original version was a lot of fun. So June basically is at the point where there's nothing strictly booked at this physical moment in time. Which I know is kind of crazy seeing as it's still December at the moment, but that's the reality of where the YouTube channel is. So the question then asked is, what do I intend to do summer onwards? And at this point, I don't know hugely. I can't say something in stone because I simply can't. But there is definitely space for doing something like June, July, August, before you kick back into like September, October. You then got the Halloween and then the next Christmas and that sort of thing here. There is one LP that I did want to speak about in particular because I have been asked about it a few times very recently, and that is regarding Grand Theft Auto 4. Now, the story of Grand Theft Auto 4 is a weird one. The last Grand Theft Auto game we did was Vice City Stories, which I believe was around like the summer of 2017, spring going into the summer. Now, it was my original intention last year, last sort of April summer, to do Grand Theft Auto 4 because I'm one of those ones that, you know, I know GA4 doesn't cater to a lot of people's tastes, but I seem to like it a lot more than I think a lot of others did. It's probably, you know, it's like I'm not going to sit here and say I think GA4 is better than GA5, but I'm just saying on a campaign scale, I think GA4 suits me far more than GA5. I finished GTA4. I never finished GTA5. Let's just go with that. And it's probably why I like, say, you know, I like say Final Fantasy 13, whereas quite a few people didn't because it was too serious. And yeah, that's a whole argument we can have during the series. Anyways, getting distracted here. So I intended to do it originally in last summer, and then something came up. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. It got pushed back. I was going to do it perhaps in the back end of the year, and then State of Decay happened, and then it's been basically nuts since. So it hasn't really particularly happened and whatever else. I am definitely strongly looking at doing it in the summer of 2020 because we do like the GA series is one that we've covered over the course of the channel's history in the past 8 years. And they're usually a lot of fun. They're usually very entertaining, especially some of the games we've done, say like the original run of GTA 3 was completely fucking nuts. San Andreas had some great moments. And even Vice City as well, and Vice City Stories were quite entertaining as well in their own way. So, pencil in GTA 4, you know, write in GT, whatever it is, it would be what, like GTA? I don't know. But I'm hoping to look to do that over the course of this summer. That's the rough idea. But I dare not confirm it because it's still 6 months away. And anything can happen in 6 months. So that's a rough idea what we're looking for the YouTube channel. I'm not even going to look at going into like stuff I might be doing over the course of next winter. That's too far away. I don't even want to even consider going there. So we'll worry about that closer to the time. But that's basically where we stand at this point. Is Dark Cloud RE6 now. We got Dead Rising, followed up by Resident Evil 3 Remake, followed up by probably GTA 4, question mark. And there might well be something else to do on the YouTube on top of those as little mini bits and pieces. That's the rough plan of where we are for the YouTube channel. Now for Twitch. So the Twitch channel has been going rather well, actually, I'd like to think, for the time we've been doing it. It's been an experience, certainly, doing actual physical live streaming for the channel. It has been quite a step away from doing sort of my locally recorded series. But I like to think on the whole they've been very entertaining, and they've definitely give a different slant on doing, you know, the Let's Play series, and it allows me to interact far more with you guys than ultimately it does on doing local recordings, and it's very enjoyable. It's usually reasonably laid back, and we have done a whole manner of things since, you know, even including Mixer, if you want to go back to that, over the past year or so. We've done all sorts of series and bits and pieces, which has been great, you know, from interactive stuff with like the Raffle Raffles and a bit of tabletop stuff as well. We've been doing some old classic games, like Fallout 2. We did Fear Effect 2 very recently. We've done other bits and pieces. We did the 8th anniversary stream of all sorts of stuff, the Q&A stream, knife runs. We've done all sorts of a variety of things, so it has been a lot of fun. But I must admit, I haven't doing this year and doing all sorts of bits and pieces. it hasn't been particularly structured, and that is something that has been a little bit of an issue. It's been difficult to structure because my schedule has been a bit all over the place over the course of 2019. It's been very, very busy on my end, especially coming evenings. They've been all over the place. That's why, sometimes I've been streaming on Saturdays and it moved to Fridays. Then it went back to Saturdays again. And then like the last 6 weeks have been virtually straight Sundays with the occasional Friday. It's been a bit all over the place. It should calm down significantly more by the time we get into sort of like February going into March. January could still be a little bit iffy as we go. What I also want to be looking to do with Twitch is kind of focusing more on what I actually want to do on Twitch. This will be assisted somewhat over the course of the year because of the release of Resident Evil Remake, and in particular when it comes to Twitch, Project Resistance, or Resident Evil Resistance, or whatever the hell you want to call it now. For those of you who were around for when the beta was, I think I was probably one of the more positive on Resistance. And what I will be looking to do upon the release of Resident Evil 3, which I'll be doing that as a local series as I've always done. I will be doing streams on Resistance, and I might well be doing them weekly. I suspect I might be doing that. I've already bought the game for PC. It's already on pre-order. So if anyone's interested in getting involved with that, I know several people on the Discord server already are. That would be your best bet to get it on PC, and you can get involved with those. But I do want to give Resistance a really, really good shot. And if we do several streams and the general consensus is, you know what, maybe this isn't all that great, then so be it. But I want to give it a good damn go. So I'll likely be doing over the course of April and going into May, I'm sure. There will be probably a couple months of a lot of Resistance streams, probably one a week. And that will be done in conjunction with probably some of the bits and pieces I want to do as well. One thing I want to try and do on Twitch, at least for the time being, is I want to use it as a place to sort of do smaller series that, little games, bits and pieces. I'm going to say the YouTube channel for like the next 6 weeks, the next 6 months even, is basically blocked off and it's already booked. So it'd be nice to use Twitch to do sort of small games, a bit like what we did with Fear Effect 2, which is a game that, I could have locally recorded, and in the past I might well have locally recorded, but being able to do that online and streaming it, I think probably made it a more enjoyable experience with the absurdities of that game, and of course, fucking Glass Royce. So I think any opportunity we can to perhaps use Twitch to do sort of those sort of smaller games like that and do them a couple of streams, be it like PS1, maybe GameCube, maybe even getting some sort of more NES and SNES titles. It's been a while since I've really delved into some really, really old games, which are always good and entertaining. And again, that can easily be done in a stream as well. Stuff like that, so we can do stuff more like Fear Effect 2, games more like Time Splitters and with Cortez and all that sort of malarkey, the sort of more lighter-hearted games, I guess, which I think probably lend themselves pretty well to being streamed as well. That's what I want to be looking to do with Twitch. And I'll still be wanting to try and occasionally do stuff interactive. We've got the Outbreak Raffles, which will definitely be continuing on to 2020, and I might well look to do them slightly more regularly with Twitch. It's just, again, it's been really hard to book things consistently with streaming because my schedule has been all over the place over the course of 2019. And admittedly, sitting here physically, I don't quite know what my schedule for that sort of thing is going to be going into 2020. About like sort of 6 weeks into 2020, I should probably know where things stand, and I can book a bit more effectively from that. But it's just been the way it's been, and that is life. That is life. So that's that. So the Twitch stream will be kicking off in the new year. I will sort out some dates and bits and pieces of what I want to do. It'll probably be a couple of weeks or so until I crack on properly with Twitch. So I will, I'll get a YouTube video up on that at some point with some dates and times of titles I'm looking to do, and we'll probably do an Outbreak raffle, like in February or something as well. Maybe like Valentine's Day or something. A Valentine's raffle. That sounds horribly, evilly corny and also just delightfully perfect. I can live with it, so we'll see how we go. An addendum I should probably add to the Twitch section here, and I'll put its own timestamp for this as well. I have been asked plenty plenty about Resident Evil Remake 2. Now, last year, when we did the series, I did the effective Claire A, Leon B games, and I have, understandably been asked a lot of times, do I ever intend on doing the other one, the Leon A, Claire B stuff? The answer is yes. The next question was then, do you intend to do it before Resident Evil Remake 3 comes out in April? And the answer is probably that is the plan, yes. It's going to be a bit tight, but what I'm actually aiming for here is, so Resident Evil Remake 3 comes out on April 3rd, right? The weekend before, and this is just a pure coincidence, because I still don't have a PS4 for my copy of Resident Evil Remake, and Frui's taken his or whatever else. My father is actually going on a holiday over to Australia for like about 3 or 4 weeks or so to see family over there, and I've asked if I can borrow his PS4 while he's away, and he said, yeah, that's totally fine. So what I'm probably going to be doing, and again, I'll confirm this a bit more closer to the time, is the weekend before Resident Evil 3 Remake's release, I intend to live stream on both the Saturday and the Sunday, and we will do in 2 streams, we will one-shot the whole load of Leon A and Claire B in 2 streams. Now, this should work on multiple fronts. A, it gets me kind of semi-prepared for the way that Resident Evil Remake and Resistance will work. B, it also satisfies something that I've been wanting to do with Resident Evil 2, and I said about it when I did the series, is that I wanted to eventually do the other 2 runs, but I wanted it to be a little bit down the line from when I did the series, because I wanted to say, like, leave it for, like, 6 months or whatever, come back to the series with a bit of time pass, and can I still say that it's a really good game? I don't know. Sitting here, my suggestion is probably the answer will be yes, but I always wanted to leave it a bit of time till I did the other ones. And yeah, it's like it works out pretty well time-wise. It's like literally the weekend before, so it should be pretty good for us to whet our appetites for Resident Evil 3 Remake when it comes out the following week. The second question I've been asked is regarding MediEvil Remake. So we did the remake again a little while ago, back in October, and it was when it came out, and it was really, really nice to play. Now, the great thing with MediEvil Remake is that once you complete slight spoilers here, if you haven't played it and you intend to, spoiler alert, so please be careful for the next minute or so. But with Resident Evil Remake 2, if you 100% the game and you do the whole load of the Lost Soul side quest and do everything, it actually has an emulated version of the original MediEvil available for you to play on the game, which I looked at and thought, that's totally fucking awesome. I need to do this. So, I am intending to do a run of the original Resident Evil, the original MediEvil, because I really want to, and it would be a nice way for me to basically sign off MediEvil, because as much as I would love there to be a remake of the second MediEvil, I just don't think it's going to happen. Call me a pessimist or cynical, whatever the hell you want to say. As much as I'd love it to happen, I just don't see it being. I really think what we've seen with the remake for MediEvil is basically it for Mr. Fortescue. So it'd be a nice way to sail off into the sunset and have one last blast of the game. And that is to play through the original Resident Evil. And that is also going to be, I want to do it with a condition run. Now, I have been asked, and I was asked a couple of times on the main series, about, well, if you're going to do a condition run, why not do a run of the game where you've only got Dan's arm that you can use? Now, I don't actually know if that's possible. I've not particularly looked into it. I had considered doing like a run where you can use everything that you get in the initial crypt, which is the small sword, the throwing daggers, and the bronze shield. Now, if the game is technically beatable with using just Dan's arm, which I don't know if it is, maybe some of you guys know the answer to that question, if it physically is possible to beat it with the arm, I think I might end up doing that. But we always have this, like, the Crypt's armory as a backup, because I'm sure that you can beat the game with small sword bronze shield, and the daggers. I'm pretty sure you can beat that. And I think it might be a bit more of a better run that way, rather than just doing it with the arm, which should just be... That could be really a pain in the ass, I strongly suspect. Basically, I'd be avoiding virtually every enemy in the game, apart from the few that I have to kill, and then bosses would be... miserable, I suspect, is the answer. But anyway, so that is something I definitely do want to do. And what I'll likely be doing as well is I might even try and do streams of that at the same time I've got the PS4. So that'd be shortly after. Basically, I do the Resident Evil 2 remake runs on the weekend. And I've still got the console for a couple of weeks or so. So it might be an idea and a possibility for me to do, if I'm going to do a run of this, to do it like on the following couple of weekends. But then I've also got to tie up with Resistance as well. So it's going to be a bit of a fiddly one. But I do want to do one run of the original game. So that is the intention. And again, more details on that a little bit closer to the time. So that's pretty much everything going forward for 2020 that's already looking to be going on for the channel. As you can see, there's plenty on the books as it is, and I'm sure that's only going to continue as we actually crack on into 2020 and get into sort of like the spring. I suspect probably within, like, say, by the spring, I expect like the whole channel will be booked out probably for like the year and like going into 2021 and God only knows what else. It is startling, but fascinating in its own way as well. So as always, if you've got any comments or questions, do feel free to put them in the comment section below. And as soon as YouTube decides to let me know that you've sent said comments, I will attempt to respond to them, because YouTube's comment system is gradually getting worse and worse. On top of that, you can always as well get hold of me as well over on the Twitter sphere at BlackShow993. We've got the Patreon as well, as I mentioned in the description down below, if you wish to support the channel in that way. And of course, we have the Discord server as well for the channel. Again, everything's in the description below. The Discord server is probably the best place to get in contact with me if you need to. We can chat. There's plenty of people there as well. Always plenty of things going on, from just general chat about games in this to offers, servers that we run every now and again. We've got the latest releases thread to keep up on track of when stuff gets released, plans for the future, all sorts of stuff. And yes, the damn dad jokes. I suppose it wouldn't be an update video if I didn't at least read a couple of these out. What have we got today? This morning, I was wondering where the sun was, but then it dawned on me. This furniture store keeps emailing me. All I wanted was a one-night stand. What's blue and not very heavy? Light blue. What kind of dinosaur loves to sleep? A Stegosaurus. You know, when I put this thread together, like about 9 months ago, I didn't realise the amount of pain and suffering this would put me through. There have been times I've considered axing the channel. I can only imagine the riots that would probably occur on the server I ever did, so I think I'm forced to just put up with it and just occasionally slit my wrists. Alas. Hope you have a lovely New Year's, everyone. We'll see you in 2020. It's looking to be an eventful year for the channel, definitely. And I definitely cannot wait for Resident Evil Remake. My closing thought on this game, as I've mentioned a couple of times, that game has incredibly high standards to meet in the eyes of many people for how Remake 2 went. And it's going to need to meet them. Otherwise, I suspect there could be fun and games on that front. And some people will not hold back in having a shitting heck of a go at Capcom. And then we got the potential remake for Dino Crisis going out as well. Rumours, speculation, fun. Busy 2020 for the channel. Take care of yourselves, folks.